I'm Brian, and welcome to the portal to the infinite. Okay, now today I want to answer a question for most of you that I know is on everybody's mind. It's probably one of the most pressing questions that we have here as citizens of the planet Earth in our flesh costumes here. And that is there really life after death? All right. Well, first of all, we have to watch the words we're using. Remember, I always tell you how your words give away your beliefs. So become aware of the words that come out of your mouth. Well, first of all, what is death? Well, death is the cessation of life. But we refer to death only as the cessation of life from, let's say, a physical body, whether it be a human being, an animal, a fish, a bird, a mammal, whatever it may be, an insect. We all see everything in nature, flowers, trees, you name it. We see that everything dies at some point. There is a cessation to life. And what is life? It's the energy force that is within, giving someone the experience of life. So, is there such thing as death? From a physical perspective, from our point of view here in the 3D reality, yes, because everything we see and everything we've ever known dies, and everything that is here now will die. But it only dies physically. You see, it doesn't die spiritually. Now, a lot of people may say, well, no one's ever come back to tell us what it's like after you die. And that's actually not true. In fact, over the last 40 years, there have been a tremendous amount of information coming forward, especially from what are called near-death experience survivors, which is an interesting term, but that was a term that was coined in the early 70s by Raymond Moody, who actually coined that term and wrote the first book when he began to speak to people who had elements of being resuscitated. Because remember, resuscitation didn't really exist until the 1960s, and that was when we do, chest compressions to resuscitate people and bring them back, plus all the other advances in medicine that we have. So we have thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who have experienced death, meaning that their consciousness, their body, everything stopped, their heart stops. As a result, their brain waves are gone, nothing is happening. They are clinically and literally dead. At least that's the way their body appears. They, on the other hand, are all having a totally different experience. Now, this also coincides with out-of-body experiences, or also some people call it astral projection, but which I've had since high school, by the way. This is what helped me along the way. This is what intrigued me so much about reality, my reality, and who I am in this reality. So, you see, your consciousness, and all of these are misnomers, out-of-body experience, near-death experience, death, all of these are misnomers, because actually, your consciousness, which is the point of who you are, your sense of self, knows no bounds. It knows no boundaries. It has the illusion of being within this body, so you can interact within this 3D realm, but actually, it's none of that. So you can go, and I've read thousands upon thousands. In fact, I even belong to the International Association of Near-Death Experiencers. It's called IANDS. You can find them online. You can become a member, but you can get lost on there, plus YouTube. They have a YouTube channel, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, of videos of people explaining what happened to them when they physically died and were out of their body. They all kind of sound the same, and what's amazing is that cross-culturally, and this includes people who are atheists, meaning they didn't believe in God, because, well, what is God anyway? That's another topic for another, because God is not an outside entity. God is the force of creation. God is all that is, and you and I are part of all that is because we came from all that is, you see? And all that is cannot die, cannot disappear, cannot end, cannot begin. It always was. Now, that's a lot to wrap your head around, and I understand that. That takes years and years of contemplation, meditation, thinking, reading, assimilating. So all of these things are misnomers for what actually happens. And I invite you all, because now I live in an ancestral house. I'm sure you're all curious about the backgrounds I use in my videos. This is my family home. I now live here. I own it. This was originally my grandparents'. I was here my entire life. And it was when I was younger when I first started, and my family first started, having experiences in this house where we felt our ancestors kept sending us signs that they still existed, you see. Some of these signs were completely unmistakable. Some of these signs were things that if I told other people about them, they would think I was crazy. Luckily, in my case, in my family, we had experiences where we would each, either all of us or some of us together, would have the experience. Now that I'm here all alone, not all the time, I got company, I continue to have them. But it's different because I know that my loved ones still exist. You and I will always exist. Now, when we leave our bodies, we still look the same. We have the same personality, the same fears, the same likes, the same dislikes, the same memories. We have it all. I realized that when I started having out-of-body experiences, that even though I was in a different frequency, I still had a physical body because I was able to touch myself and touch everything around me in my atmosphere. Everything, I had tactile ability, you see. Everything had a touch and a feel because it's no different than this reality. The only reality is it has a different laws of physics because I could fly. I can go through walls and doors, or I could walk through them the traditional way. I could also walk if I want to walk. I could speak with my mouth or use telepathy. And this is what everybody who experienced death and return had the same thing to say about it. Now, many times in hospital rooms, a patient would die and they'd have to be resuscitated. In some cases, these people were dead for a half an hour and 45 minutes. The fact that they came back without brain damage is a miracle. And I believe most of these people who have these near-death experiences have them for a reason. It is a part of their life so that they can return and tell everybody here that, no, there's a wonderful place we go on to. In fact, it's an infinite amount of realms that we can go to. And we're going to go to the realm that with which we most vibrate, you see, with which we most align. Are you going to see your loved ones? If you want to see your loved ones, of course you're going to see your loved ones. So you can go on in the experiences that you enjoy here. But eventually you will get bored. It could take a couple of thousand years, but even though there's no time there. But the point of the idea is that most of us, when we get there, are probably just going to want to enjoy being with our loved ones and our friends that we hadn't seen since they were here physically. But after a while, we're going to want to grow, we're going to want to evolve, we're going to want to move on, especially when it comes to the life review. Near-death experiences, not all of them experience it, but many of them have. And that is when you go and review your entire physical life, and you have to see it from your point of view, as well as from the point of view of other people. So if you said something or were nasty to a person in your life, you're going to have to feel how those words felt to the other person. Because you see, in essence, we are all one. What you do and say to one person, you are doing and saying to you. And that's part of the awakening, is that we all come from the one central source. All that is, we're all a part of it. We're all one with it. It is within us. It is who and what we are. So you don't die. You can't die. Your body can die, but you can't die. Now, I invite you to go online, go on YouTube, type in near-death experiences and start listening to them. Go on to Ian's website, start reading about them. And if you want to know more, ask. Ask. If you want to grow and experience or learn more anything, you've got so many guides and angels around you. We all do, including your ancestors. You have ancestors that are around you. And if you ask them and give them permission to begin to show you and teach you things as you grow in your spiritual walk, they will. They absolutely will. That's what's been the case in my life. That is why I have learned and grown in so many incredible experiential ways. So, again, there is no such thing as death. It is an illusion for those who are left behind in this 3D reality because we're left with a physical body that doesn't have a soul in it anymore. And that's why people who did have the near-death experiences, when they look down, and they always wind up in the ceiling of a room, looking down. And they could repeat everything that the doctors and the nurses were saying. They could even repeat things that were being said by doctors and nurses outside of the room, which is what made medical doctors really take note of this. But they would look at their body with no interest in it whatsoever, no connection to it whatsoever, because they realized, wait a minute, how can I be down there when I'm up here? So, maybe you've had out-of-body experiences. I suggest you read up on and learn about them as well. Now that there's many channels on YouTube as well, like the Astral Club, Rick, great guy, and I've been listening to Rick for years. So there's plenty of channels that talk about it. Learn about it. Whatever excites you. If you find this exciting, go ahead. That's your sign that you should be following this. You should be learning all there is. Because you see, once you take away the fear of death from human beings, there is no fear that could possibly be left. Because that fear is what has been used over us all these years. That's the fear that the manipulation of the controlling forces of this planet use. And everything is used to sell us. Fear is used to sell us everything. Oh, you need this in case this happens. Oh, you better be careful. This may happen. And everybody's afraid. Everybody's afraid. Everybody's filled with fear. And so your thoughts are not you. They're not who you are. So you can separate yourself from them. But we'll save all of that for another video. I hope this video helped you. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Click the little bell icon so you'll never miss an update. And ask me questions or tell me experiences that you've had, whether it's with the supernatural, out of body, or if you or someone you know had a near-death experience. I'd love to hear about it, and I'd love to engage with you. So again, I wish you all the best on your spiritual growth and your spiritual path. You are progressing beautifully. You're aligning with everything, even though you don't know it. Just have that desire and trust. Trust that you are always being guided by unseen, beloved entities who love you more than you could imagine, and whom you and I know who they are. Once we go home, we're like, oh, that was you helping me all the time? I didn't know that. Yeah, you signed up for that. So, learn, grow, explore. I'll see you next time here at the portal. Take care.